I first started, training was brutal. They literally tried to beat you out of the business. They didn't tell you that it was entertainment for a long time. They wanted you to, because if you failed out, they wanted you to believe that everything that went on during there is what pro wrestling was. Well, I am now 21 years into the business. I started in January 1998, so I'm a little shy of 21 years. How I got into it was actually a pretty funny story. I was in college to be an attorney, and I had a friend from high school who was named Michael Macbeth, and we had a mutual friend named Rich Yutzi, and he was like, hey, Muggsy, which is what we called him, he's wrestling this weekend, because we all were big professional wrestling fans. And I'm like, he's wrestling for the WWF? He's like, no, this little place called PWX. And I didn't even know these little professional wrestling companies existed. So I was like, oh yeah, let's go watch it. That'd be cool. And I watched it, and I totally just fell in love with how intimate these independent wrestling shows are. They're closed in, the characters are bigger than life. And I immediately, and I've always been like a guy that just jumps head first into stuff, I immediately was like, Mike, how do I get into this? How do I do this? And he signed me up for the school. And ever since then, I've been a professional wrestler, and I'm not an attorney.
You know, wrestling was a form of me kind of like finding my own self. It was a way of me to stepping out and breaking out of reality.
Attacking Mathis and the Rev. And look at the wise guy going off on the Rev. It's about damn time. And right now, Akuma.
Yes, Ronell, R-O-N-N-E-L-L, Hunt, H-U-N-T, the Rev. That's what they call me. It's going on 8 years. Started in 2011. It's going to continue to go on. I initially started training in Florida, Pensacola, Florida, off of the Wild Samoan Pro Wrestling Training Center. And then went straight from there, came back to the Pittsburgh area, finished 4 years of college. And then now I'm doing this pretty much frequently, every single week, probably about 3 shows a week. Anyone that wants to do this, I think a lot of times you think, okay, it's not as real as you expect. But like I said, I played basketball, baseball, I played football. All the way up through college. I took football all the way through college till I graduated. This has by far been one of the hardest trainings I've ever seen. I mean, what these guys are doing day in and day out, the females are doing day out and day out. This isn't meant for the young at heart, for any soft people.
Yeah, fake's the word in the industry that we really hate. Now, we understand what it is, and we know everyone understands what it is. But when the word fake comes out, it's very condescending to us because of the brutality that it takes to do what we do. We're trying to be realistic about a fight, and when we do that, the training for it is super brutal. When we bump or when we fall flat on that mat, it's not a cushion. It's not the big springs you hear about in the urban legends. It is a tight bump. It hurts. You feel it the next day. And we have to condition our bodies to withstand that impact day in and day out. It's like a car crash. And not just the bumps, the strikes, the moves, the dance together. When people come into my school, they're always surprised about how much detail it takes to learn to do what we do. So when we hear the word fake, we do take offense to it because it sounds like any kid can come in and do it. And that is not the case whatsoever.
First of all, I'll tell them they can visit my doctor. They can pay all my medical bills because of wrestling. They can talk to my mother. They can talk to my wife. But one thing I would say is, I often tell people, keep your mind open. If this is something that you just want to even know a little bit about, I mean, it's a lot of risk. It's a lot of risk. But, talk to the right people. If you want to see if you got it, if you want to say this is fake, we're more than willing to open up the doors so you slam you around a little bit and see if you can walk out straight. So